Applied behavior analysis relies heavily on visual representation of behavioral data to identify patterns, trends, and changes in behavior over time. Behavior technicians' role is to collect data. A behavior analyst's responsibility is to analyze and interpret data. Such analysis will guide future decision-making regarding a behavior analytic program. Here is a detailed overview of common graphs used in behavior analysis, along with visual examples and guidance on visual analysis. Let's review the line graph. This is the most common graph used in behavior analysis. It illustrates the trend or pattern of behavior across time. It has an X and a Y axis. The X-axis measures the passage of time. For example, it might measure session dates, session numbers, months, etc. The Y-axis measures the behavior. For the purpose of a visual analysis, a behavior analyst assesses trends, variability, and level. Trend signifies the overall direction of the data points. It can be increasing, decreasing, or zero. Level described where the majority of data points congregate, where a mean level line would be located. Examples of a level can include low stable, low variable, high stable, high variable, etc. Variability identifies any sudden changes or spikes in behavior and observes consistency in responses. Next, let's take a look at the cumulative record. This graph displays the total number of occurrences of a behavior over time. The accumulation of a behavior. What makes a cumulative record graph different from a simple line graph is that the data in the cumulative record never goes down. The changes in the behavior are measured by a slope, a slide from one data point to another. An example of a cumulative graph could be Jennifer trying to assess how much money she saves every month. In other words, how much money she accumulates. The steeper the slope, the higher the rate of acquisition. For example, if a change from March to April is minimal, the slope is low. If the change from January to February is significant, the slope is very steep. If there was no change from February to March, then the slope is zero, visually appearing as a flat horizontal line. Let's take a look at the bar graph. A bar graph does not show the exact variability, trend, or level. However, it is a useful graph for summarizing or comparing data. A behavior analyst might look for patterns, differences, or similarities between bars and compare the height of the bars. An example of a bar graph could be Jake trying to visually demonstrate the results of a preference assessment. In other words, he could show a comparison of what reinforcers were more or less frequently selected by his client. And finally, here's a scatterplot. A scatterplot illustrates the relationship between several variables, time periods, related activities, and frequency of a behavior. A behavior analyst uses the data from the scatterplot to observe the clustering or dispersion of data points. It also examines the direction and strength of any apparent correlation. For example, Julie might use this data to identify during what school activities the maladaptive behaviors of her client are the highest. She would create this graph to assess the correlation between specific times of day, classes, and frequency of the target behavior. A scatterplot allows for such a correlation to be identified. Let's sum it up. Data collection is essential in applied behavior analysis. Data are collected, graphed, and analyzed through various techniques, including graphs. We reviewed line, cumulative, bar, and scatterplot graphs. By employing visual analysis techniques, behavior analysts can gain valuable insights into the effectiveness of interventions and make informed decisions to promote positive behavior change in individuals receiving behavior analysis services.